The latest tech,
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
interviews,
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that is happening.
accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values. It's even a part of our mission statement.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for getting involved each and every single week. You do it by email to feedback@ami.ca. You do it on Twitter to @DoubleTapCanada with the hashtag #AskDoubleTap. And now you even do it on Instagram. Thank you guys so much at doubletap.online. I am Mark Aflalo with Stephen Scott by my side each and every single week. It's almost like a given, Stephen. Like I have to remind everybody that you're going to be here, but this would not be the same show without you. So thank you for being here.
Oh, if I believed any of that, my heart would be on fire.
You know, you caught me off guard here because I was holding my brand new 12.9-inch iPad Pro in my hand here. And I thought to myself, let's have a conversation with Mr. Stephen Scott and find out if he actually bought the new iPad. Now, this 12.9-inch was released about, when you're watching the show a couple months ago. It's probably the biggest leap forward when it comes to the iPad in many years because inside this device, this thin, portable, light device, is Apple's M1 processor. Unless you've been sleeping under a rock, Apple's M1 processor powers now the Mac Mini, the MacBook Pro in certain models, and the MacBook Air. Really, there's variations of that chip in our phones. So we're seeing a mobile processor that we thought in our minds to be mobile suddenly power an iPad with the speeds and performance like a computer. Are these things converging?
Well, it seems that way, doesn't it? It seems like look, this is no great surprise, Mark, is it? Let's be honest. We've been saying for long enough, I've been saying on the radio show for long enough, that it's about time that the iPad and the MacBook world start to come together. And we're starting to see it, I think. This is finally it happening, although only on the hardware side. That's the point. And this is where a lot of criticism has come for this device, is that it's not really that mobile desktop class device that people want because of a number of limitations, the main one being iPad OS. If we could run some version of Mac OS on this thing, then I think we might be talking about a very different world. But we all know that, of course, that's not going to happen immediately because Apple aren't stupid. They want to sell MacBooks, they want to sell iMacs, they want to sell other products as well as the iPad. So they're not going to put it all in one device, otherwise they negate the need to buy anything else. But for users, that's exactly what we want.
But we're surely getting closer, right? Because there's now a keyboard case that has a really, really good keyboard in it that is as portable as the iPad itself. Not only does that keyboard case have the keyboard built in and not require external power or anything, but it's got a trackpad. So we're now using a keyboard. We're using a mouse, so to speak. We're using touch. So really, it's a matter of software opening itself up to the platform and saying, hey, let's give this a try. I'm wondering if, and curious what your opinion is on this, is Apple holding that back? Are the developers holding that back? What do you think is standing in the way of getting that pro version of Final Cut on the device? Because it's not for lack of performance.
No, that's right. It's the same processor that's inside my MacBook Air with an M1 chip. It's the same processor that's inside the MacBook Pro, as you were saying, inside the new iMac. It's the same processor. There's no difference here. The difference is what Apple have decided to do with it. Apple is the company holding this back. They always will be. Because unlike Android, or unlike Google, I should say, Google are always very good at, opening things up to other developers and inviting developers in. Apple, very much the opposite. It's closed door. We decide how this works, like it or lump it. And in this case, it is very much lump it until further notice. I think the day will come when we'll see an iPad Mac, MacPad. That's the name. I'm convinced that's what they're going to call it. It's going to be called the MacPad. You've heard it here first. But I think that is what is going to become the next version of Mac. But I don't think that's a long way off. I don't even think we'll see that next year. I think we'll even see that the year after, because Apple did say it was a 2-year transition with the M1 processor. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Let's wait till that transition's over and see what happens next.
Now, the reason I picked up the brand new 12.9 inch was, aside from just curiosity, of course, to see the difference in the display, because the display was something that really stood out among all the other iPads out there. And of course, the performance was, honestly, Stephen, because Logitech sent me this keyboard case that I'm holding in my hand now. This keyboard folio actually comes in two parts, as you can see in my hand. You've got the backing, which goes, the iPad slides into. It's got a really cool magnetic kickstand on the bottom that's really sleek. You just pull it out and you can, tilt the iPad in various different angles. And then when you want to, it's got that keyboard accessory right here with the trackpad built in that just magnetically connects to its own case like that. And you can swing it open and use your iPad in complete keyboard and mouse glory. So I decided, well, they sent me this to review. I need to go get the iPad to fit in it. But I'm curious about your point of view. What did you do? Did you buy one of these yet? Is it there?
Do you know something? I was so unsure about what to do about this iPad. Because look, a large screen is brilliant. And as you say, the display on this thing is incredible. Am I going to benefit from this as a visually impaired guy? Probably not so much. Will it make any difference whether I had last year's model of the iPad Pro versus this year's model? Probably not. Will the M1 chip matter to me in use case? Will I even need that power? I don't know. That didn't stop me, Mark, going in buying one of these things. And of course not. I mean, what am I, insane? Of course I'm not going to not buy one. So I opted for this. I got the cellular version. I have no idea why. I think it's because it was the only one that was next day on Amazon. But I went for the 12.9 inch iPad Pro with 128 gig. I did wonder about the storage. I don't know where you stand on it. You can now get up to 2 terabytes of storage in this. I felt 128 was probably enough for my needs.
I did 512 because I have a lot of pictures and I got a lot of stuff going on when I do use the iPad for traveling. I'm still kind of on the fence. I've got 30 days to return it, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it. But you know what, Stephen? Let's take a quick break and come back and continue the conversation, because that's not the only device that Apple announced recently. They finally released Apple's AirTags. We want to talk about those as well, because those are pretty cool devices, but there's so much more to explore when it comes to the iPad Pros. So if you've got a question for us, let us know. Feedback at ami.ca. You can reach out on Twitter at DoubleTapCanada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap. And don't forget, now on Instagram, shoot us a picture or send us a private message. It is at doubletap.online. We dive into the AirTags and more conversation about that iPad Pro after a quick break here on Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Back on another edition of Double Tap TV. I am Mark Aflalo with Stephen Scott. Each and every single week, you guys at home want to get involved, you always do. It's feedback at ami.ca. Of course, you can send us anything by email. Well, almost anything. Stephen doesn't like to, look at those pictures. You know what I'm talking about. On Twitter, it's at DoubleTapCanada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap. And now on Instagram, it is at doubletap.online. We're talking all about some of the more recent Apple products that have been announced. We should probably, obviously, talk about that M1 chip in a little bit more detail, because it's also available, Stephen, in the new iMac lineup of computers, which are now completely redesigned, beautiful, thin. They honestly look like a giant iPad, a 24-inch iPad with a stand. I mean, that's it. It has a new version of MagSafe. It comes with 4, USB-C type, Thunderbolt ports on the back, depending on the model you choose from. Really cool. A lot of people refer to these as like doctor office computers, dentist computers, because they kind of look pretty on the desk when you walk into a reception area somewhere.
Well, that's exactly it. And the rumor is that Johnny Ive, the great Johnny Ive, the great Apple designer, was partly involved in the design of this, which I have to say, that did surprise me, because when I first saw the iMacs, I thought, I wasn't massively impressed, if I'm honest, not by the design, because at the back, a bit like myself, they look great from the back, not so great from the front. And it's because of the big chin. The color scheme thing is a bit bizarre. So if you buy one that looks red, to me, it's actually pink, because it has more of a salmon front. It's very bizarre. But yeah, you don't get the Apple logo on the front anymore. And look, if I'm spending all that money on an Apple product, I want an Apple logo on it. Come on, I want people to know. I don't want it at the back where no one can see it, especially when it's up against my wall in my desk. So yeah, I'm not so sure about these.
There's a great site called iFixit, which after any product is released, whether it be an Apple product or any other competitor's product, they take those products, they buy them, and they dismantle them. They take them apart piece by piece, and they do it for good reason. Number one, to see what's inside, but also they put together these great repair guides for a lot of these devices. So they can sell components and different kits for you to take apart your device and do a screen change by yourself if your warranty's up, for example. And when they did the teardown of the new iMac, it was amazing. All the space behind the screen is basically empty space. It's giant cavernous space. All the computing, all the electronics is on the bottom, on that bottom chin of the device. If you look at the front of it, you've got a beautiful screen, and then you've got this 3-inch chin on the bottom. So everybody's wondering, why did you have to go so thin? This is a desktop device. You're not holding it in your hands. Weight isn't a matter. No one cares about the width of it. So why didn't you just make it a bit thicker? Make it a beautiful giant screen and just put everything behind it. And that's a question that we're just never going to get the answer to, because these are, details that Apple never talks about.
No, exactly. But I mean, in terms of design, the thinness of it is incredible. 11 millimeters thick, which is thinner than the Apple Watch. I mean, just wrap your head around that. It is thinner than the watch I'm wearing on my wrist. I mean, that makes no sense to me at all. I don't really know why either, because, like you say, there are things that it's a desktop computer, right? It doesn't need to be that thin. It could have a bit more weight to it. No one's carrying this thing around. I mean, you can if you want, but why would you? I don't know. I don't know what the process here is. I just hope Apple aren't losing their way when it comes to design, or maybe Johnny Ive's going off the rails. I don't know. Can I just talk briefly about the iPad for a minute? Because I know we were talking there about your Logitech keyboard. I also bought something. I feel like this is an extension, Mark, of our segment we do in Double Tap Canada each week, where we say, what Stephen or Mark bought this week. Sean buys nothing because he's...
Hey, Norman, wait a second here. Don't lump me into there. It's normally what did Stephen buy this week, okay? The only reason it's been what did Mark buy this week a couple times is because you weren't there. So don't lump me into this. Although I have some really cool things I bought this week, Stephen.
See, there you go. See, you've just proved your own point right there. But I did buy this. This is the keyboard that goes with it. The Apple version of the keyboard. I think it's called the Magic Keyboard for iPad. I think that's right. I think that's what it says in the box.
It is the Magic Keyboard for the iPad. It comes with the magnetic back that keeps it on very, very snugly, and that beautiful angle that's perfect for typing. And you got the new white color, which is really sexy.
It's very sexy, Mark. It's a beautiful... I'll be honest, I don't know why I bought white, but I will say this. I will never lose it because it's white. I can see it. So, no, I like this. And I love the way when you open up this... I mean, the only problem is trying to figure out the right way to open up the iPad is often the challenge for me. So let me open up the iPad here. And what you have is it kind of clicks in place. Your iPad is kind of hovering, or at least it feels as if it's kind of hovering off the keyboard. So unlike the previous versions of this keyboard, I know last year's version did act like this as well, but previously I had one where you would almost sit like a stand. You would sit the iPad on. This one hovers up, so it gives you a bit more height. There's a bit more flexibility in the screen as well when you're moving it, so you can get a nice viewing angle. Of course, you have your beautiful keyboard here as well. No function row again on the keyboard. That's the only thing. You don't get the function row. I don't quite know what Apple are obsessed about removing that, but there you go. I guess you don't need it so much on an iPad. And you've got the trackpad as well, something that does come in handy when you're using it with accessibility. And again, you've just got that lovely little magnetic clip, so the iPad just comes right off and then snaps back into place when you need it. It's recognized immediately. And of course, no charging for this keyboard case either, because all the power is run right through it. It does have another lovely little feature, which is just down at the back left side, there is a USB-C port, and that's for charging, which is brilliant, because that means you can keep the other side, which is actually a Thunderbolt port, you can keep that free for anything else that you want to plug in. Absolutely fantastic. I really like it, and I've been using it. And this is the interesting thing, because iPad accessibility for me was never great. It was always a bit of a challenge, because it was quite a different experience. And I realized only the other week, Mark, how important it is to read the instructions occasionally. So I've learned how to use it appropriately. For any voiceover users out there, the Option key is your best friend for navigation, I can tell you. It's such a great way to just move around the various containers on screen. And I am finding the apps that work really well and those that don't work well. But, I'm using this now as pretty much my main machine for everything. I use it for Teams. I use it for Zooms. I use it for any office products. I can use it for a wide range of other applications. I'd love to use it for video editing. I'd love to see Final Cut on there and see what that's like. But of course, you have the other limitations as well, that you can't hook it up to a monitor. So say you wanted to use a bigger monitor, you don't have that option yet. So there are still limitations, and like we said earlier, limitations in the software as well. You're not getting that true desktop or mobile experience that we perhaps might want.
No, definitely. You know what? I want to talk about another design choice of Apple's, and that is Apple's AirTags. These have been, I feel like we've been waiting for this device, Stephen, for like years. I feel like it's been 3 years. It's mostly because there have been rumors about this device, and Apple, apparently, we're hearing that these devices were ready to be released over a year ago. They got FCC approval and everything, but we don't know what was holding things up. It might have been a software bug, or might have been software they were just trying to get ready and baked for it. But they finally released the Apple AirTags, and these little devices, which honestly are the size of a silver dollar, so to speak, if you're in Canada, a loonie or a toonie, are really quite ingenious when it comes to finding devices. Did you pick these up yet?
Yes, of course I did. But here's the thing, right? I did something really stupid. This is unlike me, of course. So I bought a 4-pack of the Apple AirTags, and I bought one keychain. So I have a problem.
Thanks to our friends over at Belkin, they sent me a whole bunch of different accessories. Plus, if you go on Amazon, you could find a lot of their really cool accessories. The one I'm holding in my hand is like the Luggage Tag Accessory. It's got a beautiful kind of, blue string that goes along with it, of course, available in different colors, and it can wrap around a handle. But the way in which the AirTags slide into this is quite ingenious. It's got like a bumper style, so you still see the AirTag through it, and it just slides. The top and bottom just kind of slide on top of each other, and the AirTag goes in the middle. And I'm trying to open this. There we go. So if I try to hold this closely enough to the camera, you can see that the top and bottom just separate like that, and you can just put the AirTag in the middle like a little sandwich. Then you take the top part of the ring and you put it on, and you just slide the top and bottom part of the ring together, and it locks the AirTag in place and keeps a little hole at the top for actually stringing through, whether it be a keychain, whether it be the luggage accessory, which is really cool. I've got a great story about how I use these in a particular way, but we're going to get to that after we take a quick break, because I love teasing you guys. We are talking all about Apple's new iPad Pro. We're talking about the AirTags and all the pretty cool Apple announcements that happened in the past couple months. It is Double Tap TV. He is Stephen Scott. I am Marco Flallo. We're going to come back and I'm going to tell you that really cool story. It involves my daughter and hide and seek. Sleep on that one for a moment.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys, as always, for being here each and every single week. We are talking all about the brand new Apple AirPod. Stephen, I can't remember the names of these things anymore. Everything's different. AirTags and iPad Pro. He is Stephen Scott. I am Marco Flallo. We're with you each and every single week. Thank you for being here. Okay, so the story that I teased you about. So my daughter likes to play hide and seek. Hide and seek, fun game, not a big house. Why not? Let's go play hide and seek. After a couple rounds, I got kind of bored and I was playing with my AirTags, and I said, let's get creative with this. I gave her a big hug and said, oh, you found a great spot. Now go find another one. While I gave her that hug, I slipped one of the AirTags into her pocket without her even realizing it. Now, the way in which the AirTags work, in case you're not aware, is that if you have a newer iPhone, for example, the iPhone 12, you have to pair it with the Find My app. Now, the Find My app is a great, Stephen, describe the Find My app.
Oh, it's amazing, because first off, you have all your devices, not just your AirTags, but all your Apple devices in there. And actually, if you have a family setup, your family's devices. So if my wife can't find her phone one day, I can use the Find My app to find her phone. I can even find my wife as a result of that, because she is normally connected to our phone. So it kind of works out for me.
Yeah, no, I use it to find my kids sometimes when they're on their device. But here's the interesting thing. So there's a new tab on the bottom here, and I'll share the screen here, a tab for items. And when you click on items, it'll show you all the AirTags and compatible items that'll work with it, because now other devices are going to come with compatibility for this, Find My ecosystem. So now here's the thing. This AirTag, as it travels anywhere, if any other iPhone is nearby that uses the Find My app, if they have that on their phone, it will track. It doesn't release any personal information. It doesn't know whose device. It just registers an AirTag, passes by, and logs it in the system so that you can go see, and people have done this online where they've shipped it across the world, and they've been able to track it step by step as to where it goes, as long as it passes by an iPhone. So here, if you look at my phone, you can see that I've got 4 different AirTags listed, and this one here I call blue because I've got a blue tag on it. And when I tap on it, it shows me the approximate location, but when you hit the Find button, it actually starts by searching for a signal, and then when it actually gets a signal from that device, it starts giving you a rough location of where it is in relation to where you are, to the point that it's actually going to show you an arrow as you get closer to it. It's like playing hot and cold when you were kids. So right now it says it's connected, and it says that I'm within 0.5 feet from my AirTag. Now, as I go closer with my AirTag to the phone, and I'm going to try to hold this up here, you can see it getting closer, 3 feet, 2.2 feet, 0.1 feet, and then it says it's here. So imagine this is in my daughter's pocket, I'm in my house, and I'm going to find her. Now, she got all confused because I found her 3 or 4 times pretty quickly until she's like, you must be cheating. I'm like, no, I'm not cheating. So then what did I do? I decided to make it play a sound. So she's like, what's that noise? She found the AirTag in her pocket, and she didn't speak to me for about 3 or 4 hours. I don't necessarily recommend doing this with your kids if they take things a little bit too seriously, but definitely a cool use case to show you how that Find My ecosystem and the AirTags work, because they are quite ingenious.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And like you say, it's that ability for the AirTag to connect with other devices, as in other iPhones throughout its journey, that really does set it apart from the alternatives, because we all know there's people out there who say, oh, look, what about Tile? I'll just buy Tile, right? I'll just have a ton of those. Well, yes, you can, but in order to get access to features like that, you'd have to pay extra. So you're getting these features as part of the deal. And in terms of price, they're not massively different to the other ones on the market. Normally, you would expect Apple to come out with a bit of a higher price. To be honest, I think it's $120 for a 4-pack, which isn't massively different to Tile. So, and I wonder if down the line they'll develop other types of AirTag, maybe ones for the wallet in the way that Tile did, or for, further shapes and styles that we might want. Who knows? Maybe
they'll build this into some of their own products. I'd like to see this built into not only their phones, but also built into the iPad, so you can find your iPad if you don't know where you put it. Or, perfect example, your AirPods, your AirPods Pro, or your Beats headphones. That would be very cool. Anyhow, lots of stuff that we're talking about. We're going to continue to put this stuff to a test, Steve, and I think it's only fair if we actually continue using that iPad Pro, especially on the accessibility side of things, and see what your experience is like in a month from now. See what you're still using it for and what you might not be using it for.
I might need to buy some more keychains, though.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. We'll give a call to our friends over at Belkin. Stephen, thank you so much for being here and by my side each and every single week. You guys at home, thanks for getting involved at feedback@ami.ca, on Twitter at DoubleTapCanada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap, and now on Instagram, it's at DoubleTap.online. On behalf of Stephen Scott, I am Mark Aflalo. We'll catch you again next week here on Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap.
Hosted by Mark Aflalo and Stephen Scott. Editing, Will Latar. Production assistants, Wendy Kaufman. Content review, Zachary Aflalo. Social media, Andy Wynn. Segment producer, Sean Priest. Voiceover, Anna Vicino. Integrated Described Video Specialist, Ron Rickford. Coordinating producer, Jennifer Johnson. Director, Production, Kara Nye. Director, Programming, Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2021, Accessible Media, Inc.